Chinese saying is that when you drink the water, you always remember the source. And if you come from the community, you have to give back. I was born in San Francisco. I was pretty precocious as a youngster. I read a lot of books, just loved to read, because I was the only child in the family. I became a doctor because my parents wanted me to. I couldn't think of anything else better I could be. My dad told me that one time he took a career aptitude test, and the highest ranking he had on this aptitude test was to be a minister. And that's really appropriate, I mean, I think accurate, because what he really liked to do was help people. And being a physician was one way, but he believed very strongly in building up Chinatown, to create infrastructure, to make it a strong organization. And so he got involved in other organizations and activities to help the community.
As president of the Board of Chinese Hospital, he actually helped straighten out the finances, which were becoming a problem back in the 70s, and then got the Board of Chinese Hospital to agree that we should have a health plan. He then actually went out and found funding for creating this health plan so that it would then be able to serve the community with low cost, affordable, and culturally competent care.
After the I Hotel on Kearny Street was demolished, Mayor Dianne Feinstein formed an I Hotel Development Advisory Committee, and Rolland chaired that committee. And Rolland, being the leader that he is, had a very steady hand in leading and guiding that committee through many, many difficult decisions. That entire project took over 20 years to get the replacement housing built. But to this day, Rolland is still on the committee with the rest of us.
He is deeply aware, even today, of how important his leadership is in all sorts of organizations, arts organizations, health organizations, advocacy organizations.
It comes from his parents initially. His mother and his father were both activists. And I know he was definitely influenced by a youth group called Manqing when he was young. He met Kathy there. Kathy was very active as Rolland.
My dad has always had a very even temperament. My mom was different. She was really the firebrand in the family. She was an advocate and didn't mind telling people. And one of my strong memories of Manqing was that they would have regular picnics in Golden Gate Park. There were a lot of young families, a lot of kids, and a lot of like-minded parents. Looking back now through the lens of today's world, these people were really radicals. I mean, they were strong supporters of China at a time when that was hugely, not only unpopular, but illegal in the United States. And my mom wasn't able to get her permanent residency for 30 or 40 years, largely because the government had labeled her as a troublemaker. And yet, over the years, these people, as they grew up, they became the progressive leadership in Chinatown.
Growing up, I had always known about Dr. Lowe because he was actually my grandmother's physician. And when I finally met him, he was actually very funny, and he was very warm and opening to young people. His mother, Eva Lowe, was a very important figure in the 1930s that was involved in the fight for poor people during the Great Depression. And when I talk to Dr. Lowe, he reminds me that it's because of his mother that instilled these values of serving the community, and not just the Asian community, but the community as a whole, and to really keep the fight for the underdog alive.
Very few people launch new projects at this age. But he's stubborn. I think in many ways this is keeping him going. He'll make it happen.
He's always trying to figure out how can community-based groups be sustained? How can they build capacity? How can they develop a funding stream so that they're going to be around for a very, very long time?
Important to note that Dr. Lowe himself has been very philanthropic. And I think he would like to see other capable folks be part of growing philanthropic assets that will turn around and serve their community.
Even though I'm an old man of 80, I still have that can-do spirit. And Kathy was the perfect partner. The job of raising the children and installing the values that we have rests on her shoulder. Without her, I couldn't have done the things that I did do. So I have to say thank you to her.
Are you sure? I have no regret. That he doing what he doing anyway.
And so to the younger generation, you owe it to the community from which your parents or your grandparents come from to give back something and make sure the needy of today is taken care of. Sorry. Hello, B. We played mahjong yesterday. Weekly mahjong partner. They're more important than you people.
Yes, of course. Hey.
So.
I understand.